Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 8th day of the month of May, 2024, Wednesday of the 6th week of Easter. I think I said 5th week of Easter yesterday. It is the 6th week of Easter, it has not gone backwards. Wednesday of the 6th week of Easter, it is the 39th day of the Easter season. So tomorrow would be our 40th day. It should be Ascension. It will not be here in North Carolina. It's only Ascension in a couple of other places in the United States, but we'll get to that tomorrow. So our 39th day of the Easter season. It's going to be a scorcher today. Already, it's too much. It's May, and it's getting hot too much, and Fella doesn't like it. So Fella's going to have to deal with it. Let's see, in today's readings, we're also celebrating the first of my 25th anniversary festivities of ordination. So the school mass is today, so I can celebrate with them, because next Wednesday we go to DC with the 8th grade, and then the 8th grade graduates the Wednesday after that. So to have the full school together, this is our last time to do that. So we're doing that today too. So anyway, the readings for today. Paul goes to the Areopagus, the great marketplace in the city of Athens, and basically says, there's a temple here to an unknown God, and who's to say that this is not the God of Israel, the God whom Jesus of Nazareth revealed, the God whom Jesus of Nazareth is, and tries to do a philosophical argument from that regard, because again, the whole dying and coming back from the dead just does not resonate well with many of the Greeks, because philosophically it makes no sense. Reasonably, it makes no sense. Rationally, it makes no sense. And again, Greek wisdom and Greek philosophy and Greek understandings of the world were based upon reason and rationality. And here you have a God doing a ridiculous kind of thing, especially with a human being or in a human form. It would seem needless and useless, because the God can do anything that God wants to do. And so Paul, trying to make an argument for this, makes the great statement about basically this God whom you call unknown is a God that we know, and this God can be everywhere. And basically then begins the reasoning, because the Council of Jerusalem has already affirmed it, that God is God not just of Israel, but of all creation, of all the cosmos. And so the Greeks have an understanding of that in infancy, a small growing understanding of that in infancy, and Paul basically says, this is what you are believing in. This is what you are believing in. Some of the Greeks have nothing to do with this. They scoff at it and they walk away. Some say, come back later on and talk more about us. We don't have time now. But others decide that they're going to listen, and they're going to take the chance and take the dare, basically, on the fact that Paul may be correct, and that this God that was unknown has now been made known in Jesus of Nazareth. Two people's names are mentioned of those who are baptized, a Dionysius and a Damaris. Dionysius is an official of the court of the Areopagus, so probably a Roman official of some sort, but of Greek descent. Damaris we know nothing about. It just says a woman named Damaris. Were they benefactors? Did they give, were they married? Did they know each other at all? Did they have some important role to play in the church as it grew in the city of Athens? All of that is up for conjecture. But they were important enough to mention. And again, not just a man and what he is that he would do for the Greek movement, but for the Christian movement, but even more importantly now, a woman. Again, another woman's name that is mentioned as having some kind of role within the growth of the Christian movement. Athens is the largest of the cities that Paul now is going to, and from Athens he will go to other Greek cities along the other side of the Greek coast, and then make his way to Rome. It is, again, it's a wonderful story or a wonderful narrative, again, about how anything can be used to help us understand who this God is. Science and reason are not separate from trying to understand what God is in faith. Again, the two are united, and Paul basically demonstrates that in the argument that he offers to the Athenians in the Areopagus, in the great marketplace. In John's Gospel today, again, the promise of the advocate comes again and again, but Jesus again saying this specifically so that we know that we are not left orphaned and abandoned. We know that we are not left to fend for ourselves. Again, that this advocate, that this Spirit is going to instruct us in all truth, and how to understand truth and how to know what is truth. And Jesus says it's important to listen to the Spirit as the Spirit talks. This has been and continues to be the greatest challenge within our church. listening to the Spirit, because sometimes we don't want to, especially when the Spirit begins to speak in ways that were not necessarily consistent with our own ways of thinking and our own ways of understanding the church, our own ways of approaching things within our world. And yet we have to make sure that it is the Spirit speaking to us, to listen to that, to understand that, to allow it to broaden our horizons and broaden our understandings of things. Because if we do not, then we are not doing what God asks us to do. We are not living in the way that God asks us to live. The Spirit, Jesus says, will lead us to what is important, but we have to be able to listen and to discern the Spirit speaking in our midst, even if the Spirit speaks in ways that seem to be absurd, outrageous, unconformable, against the status quo of things. This is God's Spirit speaking to us. And if Christ can be very radical and overturn all kinds of understandings and ways of thinking among the Jewish people as he did his earthly mission, so too is the Spirit asking us, to listen, to do the same. The Spirit asking us to overturn what we think is the status quo and what we think is order and stability, and asking us to broaden our horizons to think as God does. A continued blessed Easter, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.